Hey, this is Carlton. We're back to the production. We got one casualty, and we'll find out who did it, hopefully through those cameras. And it is a crime to destroy a political sign. So this is what we're up against. It's a serious election. We're up fighting for our kids' futures, fighting for our freedoms, to give the power back to the people. Yeah, it's crazy. To protect our children, to protect our women. Let's come over on this side, man. We're here at my little small house here in North Charleston. So, let's think about this for a second. I will protect women, protect children, justice reform, SCDOT reform. We need the intersection at Red Bank 52 that turns into St. James. We need that fixed. We definitely need NAD railroad ramp fixed. You about knock the bottom of your car out every time you drive by there. We also need, the railroad track at Liberty Hall fixed. Absolutely. I firmly believe we should pass a law, 75-foot rule. Coming up to a railroad track, the first 75 feet must be level ground with the track, so we can stop trucks from getting stuck on the tracks. Not only that, think about this. At nighttime, if I was talking to one person who works the night shift, they're like, man, I'm tired when I get off. I'm driving, I'm not really paying attention. I'm driving down the road, and all of a sudden, pow, pow! And about knocks the bottom of your car out. But not just that, how many deaths have happened based on someone doing that, coming down, the tire's flat, they lose control, go into the woods and smack a tree. The only job if you're an elected official is to protect the public. Alright, so protecting the public, the railroad tracks need to have that new law that I came up with on my own, by the way, to 75-foot rule flat before you get to the track. That way we're not losing children, new drivers that are children. I say kids, 15 and older, 15 to 18. Kids, people can lose control of their car hitting those railroad tracks. You see the little sticks on the side, but they kind of blend in like a light pole or whatever. It's about safety, public safety. Another thing, justice reform. We need to reform our justice system. One of the things is we need to stop taking away driver's license for back child support. That's one. We also need jury trials in family court. The 14th Amendment states if you try to take someone's property, like the house, they have a right to a jury trial. We have U.S. Supreme Court case that said if you try to take someone's child, if the state tries to take someone's child, they have the right to a jury. Right now, South Carolina does not offer a jury, and DSS can take children away. And by the way, it's discrimination because it's a majority of the African American community are having their children taken away. Good fathers, good mothers, and that's got to stop. I want to put the power back in your hands to protect the people. Here's how this works. Texas already does jury trials for child custody. If the state of Texas is trying to take your child away, you have the right to raise your hand and say, I would like a jury. Think about this for a second. We'll pretend this is a seatbelt. If you get pulled over for not wearing your seatbelt, which I have in the past, like a dummy, if you get pulled over for not wearing your seatbelt, you can ask the judge for a jury trial for the $50 seatbelt ticket to let a jury determine if you should have to pay that $50. But you cannot, in South Carolina, ask for a jury to decide if the state is going to take away your child. And here's the problem. These DSS workers and these attorneys that are involved in family courts are taking children away from good parents without due process. I'm going to change that. Another thing, the 6th Amendment. Do you know right now we have case law, DeMarco versus DeMarco from 2011, where our Supreme Court of South Carolina said our family courts are violating parents' rights by locking them up without an option for a jury. If you are facing an actual jail time for not paying child support or any other issue in family court, and you have the option of going to jail, you, by the Constitution of the United States, has the right to a jury to decide if you should be put behind bars. Our family courts are violating that every single day in the state of South Carolina. Now, the 7th Amendment states any amount over 25, I believe it's 20 or $25, 20 bucks. Anything over $20, you have the right to ask a jury to decide if you have to pay those amounts. Guess what? Our neighbor state, Georgia, offers jury trials for child support, for alimony, for legal fees, for guardian fees. Guess what? If you put me in, coach, I'm going to fight for your freedoms. I'm going to get jury trials put in, and here's how we're going to do it. You see that ship right there? I'm going to let every single military person know there's only one oath we give. That's to defend the Constitution and to defend the flag. Guess what? When our vets and our active military find out that our courts are not following the Constitution, guess what? Anybody that opposes this legislation, let me know, because I'm going to make you famous with the military, and it's not going to be a good famous. I did not risk my life on that flight deck where I literally got blown across that deck by one of those Harrier jump jets about 6 feet across the deck. On the back right there, right under the 2 and 24, I recovered a shot down aircraft on the flight deck. And that elevator right there, when I was in the hangar bay, I freaking jumped my ass underneath an H-53 that was about to go out of the door because our ship listed, and she broke away from the tractor, broke off the 2 little spikes that hold it, and started rolling like really fast, about to go out the door. I jumped my ass under that thing, and I threw the chalk under it and saved it. I did not do all that, and my forefathers risking their lives in Vietnam, whoever that is, we're going to have to talk later. I didn't do all that to come home and for us to have a kangaroo court. Now, I will end the practice of taking away your driver's license for back child support. I want the family court to work with the private sector and offer those fathers and mothers who are behind on their child support, offer them a job opportunity to get caught up, because and also all the truckers should be behind me, because guess what? I know of 5 truck drivers that lost their commercial driver's license due to COVID when the containers weren't moving, and this is insane, man. They weren't making money. They only make money when their truck is moving, man. And so the family court suspends their CDL, and they go to get their next container. They get arrested. Their truck gets impounded. They end up losing their business. One of the fathers ends up being a drug addict on the streets. How is that in the best interest of that minor child for one parent to lose their ability not only to take care of the child, but to take care of themselves? That's a bunch of bullshit. Excuse my language, but that is bullshit. And if you put me in this game, Mr. Moore, you need to get out of office, man. And let me talk about why Mr. Moore has not done judicial reform. Do you know who Alex Murdaugh is? The guy that killed his wife and son and pled guilty, I think, to the amount was like $9 million he stole. I don't know the exact amount, so don't quote me on that. But Mr. Moore accepts corrupt money. Alex Murdaugh has paid donations to JA's campaign. How is JA going to fix corruption when he's part of the problem? I would never accept money from Alex Murdaugh. And if I did, I would immediately return it to the victims fund and give those victims that lost $9 million or however big it was that man stole, I would return that money. This man right here has not returned that money. So let's go back over and talk about judicial reform. I covered judicial reform. Let's talk about SCDOT reform. My mom's boss, Buck Limehouse, was the first Secretary of Transportation. Here's what happened. And about 10, 12 years ago, the State House was corrupt as all get out, and there were representatives getting more road work done in their districts than anybody else because they had more influence in the State House. So the governor at the time said, all right, this is enough. I believe the Speaker of the House was removed. It was a big shindig, and they started what's called the Secretary of Transportation. They elected, or the governor appointed a bureaucrat, which at the time it seemed like a good idea. And Chip Limehouse was the one that implemented this, a good friend of mine. And by the way, say a prayer for him. He's in the hospital with heart. His heart's not keeping a good beat right now. But let me tell you, just finish explaining this. So they created the Secretary of Transportation. And when Buck Limehouse was in there, he was a hard ass, and he did a great job. But right now, the system, the way it's working, it's more like, as you can see, our roads are like getting crazy messed up. And so here's what we need to do. They took away the power back then from the representatives to pick which road projects get done. We need to move the pendulum back towards the middle, so representatives still have say of where these projects go versus just the Secretary of Transportation and the bureaucrats that are in the SCDOT. That's why this needs to be reformed. Also, speaking of roads, I mentioned that earlier. Let's get NAD railroad fixed. The track, so you're not jumping. I mean, literally, this big truck, this F-250 that's got awesome suspension, man, about knocks my teeth out every time I go over NAD Road. That's District 15. How about let's get Red Bank Road fixed? I mean, how long do those barrels have to sit there? So if you put me in this game, I don't play around. I don't monkey around. I have a track record of winning, and it all started here in District 15 when I was a Little League baseball player at the baseball field next to AC Cochran. We had a contest who could sell the most Chick-fil-A tickets to get our team new uniforms and new equipment. I outsold all my teammates. I was a team player, and we all got new uniforms, and I won a baseball glove and a bat. And you're going to see me walking around at campaign events. This Tuesday on the 24th, I would be speaking at the Citadel. Also, I mean, everybody sees me dressed like this as a bum. Come out and watch me speak when I'm dressed, or go to my website, Vote Carlton Walker, and watch how I did judicial reform. I spoke in front of the Judicial Ad Hoc Committee, or when I spoke on the steps of the Capitol. I clean up very good. I try to be very articulate, not the best, but I'm working on that. And we're going to win this election, man. We got to change. District 15, I'm that little boy that came home from the hospital that's here in District 15. And guess what? I'm going to leave you with this. Mr. Moore will tell you he's a low country native. He is not a low country native of Berkeley County or of Charleston County. He is a low country native of Hampton County, where Alex Murdaugh's from. Let's send J.A. back to Hampton County so he can stay with the corruption. So, vote Carlton Walker. See ya.